We begin the day with a lecture on India's strategic autonomy and air power by Air Marshal Anil Chopra, former test and fighter pilot, IAF, Director General, Center for Air Power Studies. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I must start this morning by paying respects to Sri Aurobindo and my salutes to the martyrs and those killed in action defending Bharat Mata. So with this few words, I have a PowerPoint presentation. Unfortunately, the screens are a little small and there are no repeaters for the people at back, but luckily for me, the numbers are still to fill up and therefore it should not affect us. I'm going to be at fighter pilot speed. Kindly keep eye on the ball so that we finish on time. I'm going to show you lots of pictures. Don't try to read what's written on the screen. Just enjoy the pictures. I will do the talking. Okay. So I'm going to cover basically under 3 issues. I'll give a little global scan and why India needs partnership, importance of air power in Indian context, and why Atmanirbharta is required because supply chains are going to be stretched. In any case, if you want to be a superpower, you must have Atmanirbharta. This is the Asian century. We had the European century, the American century, now this is the Asian century. Just 200 years back, China and India together had 50% of world's GDP, and by 2050, I think we may once again have 50% of the world's GDP. As I mentioned yesterday, the Americans want a unipolar world, bipolar Asia. China wants a bipolar world, unipolar Asia. Russia wants a tripolar world, and we want a multipolar world. So that's the ground reality, and that's what. You see on the screen, I have shown how between 1980 and 2018, China overtook America as the main trading fellow in the world. You see this, and I have stopped at 2018 because after that, they have started slowing down, and I hope they will one day start declining. In the last 2-3 years, China is no more our largest trading partner. USA has actually overtaken them in the last 2 years. We are proud that Bharat is going to be the 3rd largest economy in next few years. We are doing well. Now, I want to explain to you the island chain strategy, originally made by the Americans, but now used by the Chinese. And if you see on the screen, there is this island chain 1, South China Sea. They have already taken over, Chinese. Island chain 2, they are trying to get into it. And they have, in 3 and 4 and 5, they are already started some activities. So what they did to get South China Sea, they went swimming like tortoise, hunting for land, whichever was closer to the sea surface, and then started, building islands. And this is how they build the islands. In a period of just 6 years, just a piece of land, they reclaimed, made it big enough, and you see today, that picture, fighter aircraft, everything is operating. 6-7 airfields have come up on those islands. As far as India is concerned, I want you all to see the map, which are the areas which in Ladakh that the Chinese are claiming. Some they have already taken in 1962, some more they want to take. They're claiming Arunachal. So this picture gives you an idea of what is the territorial disputes about with China. So then China came to the Indian Ocean. They started the string of pearls, and now you can see some of these red dots is where the Chinese, Godard, Djibouti, Hanmamtota, and so many other places that the Chinese have come in. But India was not sleeping, woke up a little late, but did wake up. And we went for east, look east and act east policy. We got into BIMSTEC. More perhaps needs to be done. We made friends with many ASEAN countries who were hit badly by the Chinese. And now you see this is the necklace of diamonds that India has made. And you know, there's no need to read all this, but visualize that how many places we have invested. You know, in Sri Lanka, the Chinese invested, debt, then took away a port. India doesn't do this. Wherever India has gone, it's gone like a good friend. Okay, for some more time, but you know, Pakistan is suffering, many other countries are suffering where the debt has come in. Global power rankings. On the left is the military size. You know, India is second largest military in the world. But in power rankings, we are number 4. So you can see on the screen there, and the gap between us and China is significant. Gap between America, China is smaller, and they are tending to catch. So with this little global scan, let me come to the importance of air power. One who controls air and space controls this planet. And if you lose the war in the air, we lose the war, and we lose it quickly, even on the ground surface, because air war and space. Numbers game. These are CIPRI 2022 figures, and you find that China is bigger than us, about 2.5 times bigger in size, 2.5 times, or maybe 4 times bigger in economy, but about 2.5 times bigger in armed forces strength, barring one or area where the numbers attack helicopters or some of the areas where they have got little extra numbers than us. But nothing, you know, to get alarmed. And I want to tell you that because they realize that one who controls air and space will control the planet, their investments in air and shipbuilding have been phenomenal, because since I'm going to talk only about the air, they have 2 5th-generation aircraft projects. They have got a large transport aircraft. They have got their own AWACS. They have got their own bombers. They have building a stealth bomber. They have large number of UAVs that they make. In fact, the Walmart of UAVs. And they have got these aircraft carriers. The third one is about to come out. And they have, you know, every generation. They have got an airliner of their own now, though the engines are still the American engines. So therefore, they are investing heavily. Why? Control. Political control. CP. They will say, start building, and they will start building where we are at democracy and sometimes the confused one. Okay. Now, China's aviation companies, industry. You know, 2 of the Chinese companies are within the first 10 companies of the world. See, the 500,000 people in aviation industry. You know what is the strength in HAL? 24,000. HAL, BDL, Bell, all these companies put together, less than 50,000. They have got, in just aircraft building, 500,000 people. So I want to show you on the screen that they are investing very, very big in aviation, and they have got, of course, they have issues. They have aero engines, as I mentioned, is an issue, and they can't make them. So by getting this South China Sea, see what they have done to the total radii of action, you know, of their different weapon platforms, moved further, you know, into the ocean and towards the south. This is their conventional strike capability from center of China. You know, of course, covering India. Ultimately, they're going to cover the whole world. Their missiles can already hit America, and their nuclear numbers are going up. On the other side, Pakistan. Yes, we talked about it yesterday. Failing economy, failing state, but still, they're powerful. They're powerful in the sense their army, their air force is strong. They'll be a big spoiler. On their own, they can do nothing to us. But in cohorts, in coalition with the Chinese, they can be a nuisance, and this is a nuisance. You have to factor in all your plans for two-front war, etc. And they are well trained, and they are well exposed. They are doing exercises with all West Asian countries, Americans, with everybody they are doing exercise. So, and right now, in fact, today they'll be finishing Shaheen 10 exercise in China. They are doing these Shaheen exercises in 2011 with them, joint exercise. Now, look at the map on the screen. And you will see the thing that I was mentioning yesterday, the airfields advantage that India has got. You see across the border the number of airfields they have got, and much higher altitude in the Himalayas, and we have got at the base hills, the number of airfields, phenomenal advantage. India's missile strike program, doing well. We already can reach Beijing, so we are all right. Means we cover whole of China. Of course, I'm not recommending nuclear weapons. I'm still calling them ballistic cruise missiles, ballistic missiles with conventional warhead, because I don't want to start a nuclear war in the Pondicherry Lit Fest. But all I want to tell you is that we are all right. Of course, now what we need, Andamans. Unsinkable aircraft carrier, I call it. And that's where we have got currently 4 airstrips. We need to develop it strategically. We need to develop it for tourism. If I do not have Andamans, from Vizag, if I have to go to the Straits, submarine will take 8 days, but from Andamans, it will reach the same point in 5. So 3 days saving on a submarine. But when it comes to the aircraft, this is what happens. Our range from Tanjavur, which is our Su-30 base, and the Jaguars will also operate from here. So you see the distance we will be able to cover. But when I move to Andamans, I go deeper. I literally can go with one air-to-air refueling to South China Sea. So this is the advantage of developing. We are trying to develop, but we are moving too slowly. We have to be like BRO, like they're building roads in the Himalayas. We have to do this. Indian Navy, you see these triangles? Indian Navy at any given time is patrolling these points. All these red triangles. So we are doing a good job there. Major weaknesses of China. I think the top, this thing font has got changed, doesn't matter. So first, look at China. Continuous surveillance of its own people. How can people be happy if they are under surveillance all the time? Xinjiang and Tibet, they can keep trying to Hanize them, but they are, aging population, difficult to get soldiers. CCP representative in each unit. Imagine a RSS guy or a Congress, political Karyakarta standing in each unit of Indian Army. How can you be a professional army if you were to do this? They have lack of critical technologies, aero engines, they still can't make. Their stealth, their ISA, their many technologies are far, far behind the West. And lack of combat, they haven't fought a war for ages. They don't do exercise. The only people they do exercise with Pakistan and a little bit with Russia. We do exercise with every country in the world, including Russia. So there's a big, advantage that we have. India has clear, advantages. Of course, rail network, they have made, their supply chains, they have made good in Tibet, but we have also caught up. The Indian Air Force and Army, as I mentioned yesterday, is very well placed in the Himalayas. India has war exposure. We have fought so many wars. We have had Kargil war, which is like fighting in the Himalayas. India maintains exposure advantage. We do large number of exercises. And India, of course, needs defense assets, which I'm going to speak shortly. And again, this is something I spoke yesterday, but now I'm going to show you on a map how the regions are aligned. The people who are aligned or leaning towards America vis-a-vis people who are aligned with China or leaning towards China, big difference. 80-20. That's the kind of difference, the advantage with the Western alliances have. And this slide has also got, it was a nice picture, but obviously change over to another computer has ruined it. Okay, so we have this Quad plus, various alliances in this region, right. Okay, so and within this Quad, we have got lots of trilateral arrangements because, Quad in itself is not a military alliance, but you want to do some things between other countries. Like America doesn't want to talk military with us, so they will do something with Australia, the UK, they will make some, so the whole heap of trilaterals that have come up. Oh, some of my slides have got, doesn't matter. So the I want to tell you about Quad. The picture on the right, which I said you must look at only the pictures, is the truth. But we saying Quad is for free oceans, terrorism, HADR, anti-COVID, we made a whole list of things that we'll do in Quad without saying that we want to neutralize China. But the picture on the right clearly shows that's what we are, trying to do. And in Quad, 2+2 with all countries, mutual agreements for logistics with all countries. 2+2 is a big thing. Then military exercises. Then we are doing this, we are buying equipment from America. We have bought more equipment from America, military equipment, in the last 8 years than we have done from Russia. So that's the kind of changeover that's taking place. High US presence in Indo-Pacific. The US Navy has got 1,100 aircraft, 5 aircraft carriers. The number of aeroplanes that US Navy and the US Air Force and some with the US Army is more than with China, the 4th and 5th generation aircraft. Is more than China. Of course, total number, Chinese have got a lot of, below 4th generation aircraft. So huge US presence. And I've shown you some of the US bases. They have now decided, we're going to have 6 bases in Philippines. So, and of course, Guam is their main base, which is going to be the main target of US bases in Japan. 10 of them. I'm talking only air bases. There are military, army, navy, other bases also. Japanese self-defense forces, 750 aircraft, they got Japanese. 150 ships, Japanese. And now they're going to double their budget by 2027. And so what is the strength of the Japanese armed forces going to be? US military bases in Korea. See the large number of yellow dots that you can see there. Huge. South Korean armed forces, 550,000 personnel, really huge. So Australia, now this fellow was the weak guy. Continental size, double the size of India, look at the numbers, 100 fighter aircraft, So the Americans did AUKUS to get the Australians to spend money and to become nuclear because they want them to, handle this part. So this is why AUKUS was. Impact of Ukraine war, I must tell you. Russia has been pushed into Chinese arms. Russians hate China. Why? Because big border, boundary disputes. China says Vladivostok is theirs. They already fought a war. Russia always wanted to be a European nation. They don't want to be called an Asian nation. But you have pushed them. So this is stupidity. Dual containment was never an American policy. In 1971, they went to China to separate out Soviet Union and the China. So therefore, but Beijing needs Russia's natural wealth, aircraft engines, aircraft technology, and Russia needs a friend for various things. So there is, but NATO is becoming stronger, and China is not liking that idea, and many NATO nations have said they are coming to Indo-Pacific. So this is the general, dynamics. Could Russia become active in Indo-Pacific? They will. I mean, North Korea and Russia started meeting up, so they will become, active. Strategic autonomy for India. The whole world is wooing us. Can you imagine that we have bought the S-400, no sanction us, because America can't put sanctions on us. We bought 10 times more oil last year from Russia. No sanctions on us, because they need us. The Europeans, everybody. I'm not talking G20. Everybody is coming to India to woo, because we are the only people. The most important country for Indo-Pacific strategy of the world is India. There is no Indo-Pacific strategy if there is no India. So that is the, kind of interaction. Everybody is wooing us. What we have to do? We have to handle China independently. We are not to depend on anybody. We must have our capabilities to be at a level where we will handle China on our own, on the Himalayas and in the oceans. But we will continue to have partnerships, ASEAN, Indo-Pacific, We will show the flag. We will do exercise with Japan, South Korea. We'll send our ships. We'll do Malabar exercise, etc., etc. And Cocoa Keeling Islands, yesterday was spoken of, Dago Glacier. The Americans are saying, please come and land a Su-30 in this base. India's foreign policy, no, not yet. But one day we will do it. So we sent a ship to Cocoa Keeling Islands first. Then we sent a Dornier aircraft of the Indian Navy. And one day we will send the Su-30, political signaling to the whole world. Now, the main thing, the last part of my, okay, I'm good, yes, is Atmanirbharta. And I will tell you, Atmanirbharta gives the highest dividend in aircraft technology. Why? Aircraft technologies are cutting edge, not easy to get. The obsolescence sets in faster. So therefore, Atmanirbharta is very, very critical and is the most difficult in aircraft technology. And that is why the government has now started putting thrust on it. Large number of 75% of the capital budget has to be spent on India-bought items. Huge amounts are being given for private sector involvement, investments in R&D, etc. They're trying to, but we still have a long distance to cover. And there are many game-changing technologies which we have been discussing yesterday among some of the people here, which need to be mastered. Hypersonic, the Chinese are already firing missiles. We are still very far. We are still at a demonstrator stage. But even the Americans, this morning I tweeted, the Americans are also behind, on hypersonic. But AI, cyber, electronic warfare, there are directed energy weapons. There are lots of technologies which we need to do. Aircraft production system by LCA, basically we have mastered the art of making a modern aircraft. But our productions are very 2001, we did the first flight, and today we have only 34 aircraft. The JF-17, they did the first flight in 2007, they have got 150 aircraft. J-20 did his first flight in 2010, they have got 150 aircraft, and it's a fifth generation aircraft. So therefore, there is a need for us to wake up. We are going to start making a transport aircraft in India, but it's just a production contract, license production. They will give you production drawings. You will make those parts, put them together. Much, much more. And we're all writing, and the government is conscious of it. The Air Force is writing. We all, think tanks, we are all writing all this time that more needs to be done. AVACs. We are going to make 6 AVACs using ex-Air India aircraft. Also, flight refueling aircraft, again taken old 6 aircraft from Air India being converted. This process is going to take 6-8 years. Even Pakistan has got more AVACs than us. And therefore, there is an urgency which we are repeatedly flagging to the government. Fighter squadrons, we are down to 31. We are supposed to have 42. If we are going to have a two-front war, actually we should have 50. So there are numbers issues, but government is conscious because the Air Force is going and thumping the table every day. And we people are also, trying to do that. I want to say that private sector has made a big difference. LCA mid-fuselage, Su-30 tailplanes, private sector is making. Of course, we are making, the Tatas are making large for, the cabins of aircraft, Chinook, S-90, F-16 wings. All this is being made in India by the Tata. So I think we are doing a great job. Adanis are doing the UAVs with the Elbit. So there is a drone ecosystem is being built. Drone Federation of India has got more than 100 startup members. I have met all of them. And I tell you, we are it. But presently, what are we doing? We're just buying components, assembling them. So Drone Federation of India is trying to get them to make more and more components, but you need numbers. If I have to sell 10,000 drones, I'll start making components, but till then I will not. So the orders will come, and the system will improve. Aero engine, edgeless heat. We have wasted 40 years, not wasted, we have lost 40 years in trying to develop an aero engine, but if the Chinese couldn't also manage, despite their capability to reverse engineer, steel technology, etc., okay, 5 minutes, no. I'm very close, don't worry. So there is a need to invest more money. We had an article this morning which I tweeted by, okay, he wrote an article in West India. He said it on the floor here yesterday also, and I tweeted that article. We need to invest in our own technologies. Advanced weapon systems, we are doing well. We have got Akash, Astra, BrahMos, a lot of weapons we are making. The later models have to come up, the ranges have to increase, the accuracies have to increase, but I think we are on a good track. And we are, but directed energy weapons, etc., we have to cover distance. India's centrality is clear. We are there in the center. Everybody is trying to come to us. And with this, I come to the end of my presentation to tell you, Indian Air Force will continue to touch the sky and space with glory. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So we are going, I did it quickly so that we can do some.
4 minutes for questions. Anybody has a question?
Yes.
Make your question brief. 30 seconds to ask the question.
Thank you so much. Can you comment on this recent decision by the government to reorganize DRDO and what that's going to do?
You know, the ordnance factories got reorganized. DRDO is still to be reorganized. There is a Rama Rao committee report of 2008, excellent report, without having to set up another committee, which they have set up 15 days back, to review DRDO. They should have just implemented Rama Rao committee report. Excellent. If you didn't like a particular point, drop it. But remaining 80%, 90%, whatever you want to, implement it. But ordnance factories, what are they making? Shirts and trousers and boots and dharis? Or should they be making, the government of India should be making dharis and shirts and pants? It should be given to private sector. So this process of making them as PSUs, hiving them into 7 different, I think is a big step. They'll become accountable. I hope someday somebody has got a share. I mean, they come into the market and their shares are available and then people take them to task. Something which should have been done. These were made by British 200 years back, these ordnance factories. So, very good step. Okay.
Sir, I'm Manoj. Sir, here.
Yes, sir.
Sir, after the Ukraine war, what are the chances of a full-scale war on the same lines? The second part is, they just announced a map including large parts of our country. How much is it driven by what is happening in Pakistan and the POK factor? Are they nervous
too
about...
many questions. No, so we go step
Sorry.
back. You went to Tejas and then you went to POK and many places. No, so your first, say your first question again.
Sorry. After the Ukraine war.
Ukraine war.
Yeah.
No, so full-fledged war, you see, Americans are making sure that the war doesn't become so full-fledged, because Putin has said it 5 times in the last 1.5 years. He will nuke if you push him too hard. If he uses a tactical nuclear weapon on the parliament of Ukraine and kills only those parliamentarians and nobody else, because it's a low-yield weapon, the world would have, the whole dynamics of the world will change. So Americans are careful. You know how much debate went on for 1 year whether they should get F-16s to these guys. And now also the F-16s, if and when they will come, they'll come through Poland or Germany or somebody like that. So full-fledged war is very risky and will not take place. Between India and China also, there'll be skirmishes. So I don't see a full, even India, Pakistan. You know, Pakistan has a first use policy against India. We have an NFU, no first use with anybody in the world, especially the ones who do not possess a nuclear weapon. So, but if Pakistan decides to use tactical nuclear weapon, which is written in their doctrine, and you say they will take off 1 battalion or 1 brigade by using a low-yield weapon, we will have full retaliation. We will obliterate Pakistan from the face of earth. But then they will also. So I think it's in nobody's interest to do this. Yeah, okay. One last question? No last question. Okay. No last question. I have blanked the screen. Thank you.